What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So I saw these comments on my video, one of my videos I did earlier about, what you got to say about LeBron dominating Michael at age 16? What you got to say about that? Like, what are you talking about? Because I already heard about this supposed game that they played against each other. I think LeBron might have been 18 or something. Like, no, this is another game. LeBron was 16. So I look it up. And LeBron, when he was on the Kelsey Brothers podcast, talked about this game that he played in at Michael Jordan's basketball camp, I guess when he was 16. He referred to himself as being unguardable that game. He was unguardable. So speaking with the Kelseys on their podcast, New Heights, LeBron recounted he was able to get on Michael Jordan's hoops court in Chicago, not only with MJ, but also with others like Antoine Walker, Penny Hardaway, Meta Sandiford Artest, back then known as Ron Artest, and Michael Finley, among others. Despite being just a sophomore in high school, James boasted he was unguardable during the game. LeBron did confess that he thought that his own nerves were getting in the way before the game, but he, I guess, got over that. He said, when I finally get out there, I was like, I'm busting ass. I was nervous. I was nervous as hell being out there with MJ and the rest of those guys, but I was like, I'm about to go crazy, and I did. The fabled pickup game was previously recalled by Sandiford Artest during an appearance on Paul George's podcast this past May, who said James's performance as a teenager actually motivated him to improve despite having already made it to the NBA. All right. So look, this is the thing. First of all, LeBron James, we've all said this guy's a great player. Even at that age, he was about 6'7", 225. Okay. I saw Ron Artest that he fouled him. LeBron got right up and kept busting ass. Okay. Where is that LeBron at now? Because that guy's done. That guy's no longer the same LeBron James that's playing in today's NBA. He's been corrupted by catering, coddling, rule changes. He's soft. He went from being a guy that possibly could be an all-time top 3 great. The way that, if he was actually motivated and pushed by those types of players, man, he could be in the conversation, the serious conversation for GOAT. If he consistently played with against that type of physicality, he could be on another level. Instead, the NBA has coddled him and has catered to all of his whims, totally remodeled the NBA so that and changed the way the game is played so that the game is a lot more. The game is a lot less physical. You totally got rid of enforcers and big men. Like, even though he's not a center, like Ron Artest. Those types of guys don't exist in today's NBA, except for Draymond Green, and that's LeBron's buddy. So, the game is catered to Ramon James basically being Karl Malone with better handles, I should say. That's he gets to be physical. No one else can be physical with him. Okay? So, look, we never said that he wasn't great. But this thing about him busting Michael Jordan's butt or whatever, let's look at some facts here. Number one, according to what I've read, those players have been playing, the other players have been playing for a couple of games at that point, possibly even a couple of hours, with some breaks, of course. So they were naturally fatigued by the time LeBron came into the game and, quote-unquote, was unguardable and bust ass. LeBron was a fresh young teenager with very, very young legs. Okay? These guys had probably been worn down by the time he got into the game. Secondly, if you're saying LeBron is 16, therefore, since his birthday December 30th, I'm gathering this is either very, very late 2000 or early 2001, right? So Michael Jordan at this time is about 38 years old, not 37 as he's previously been described. He's 38 years old, and this is what nobody's going to tell you other than me, because I remember Michael Jordan at this time, right? He was very out of shape basketball wise. People could say, "Oh man, you make an excuse." I don't. I remember that time period like a goddamn elephant. Okay, uh, elephants are known for having great memories, long-term memories at least. Supposedly, at that time, I distinctly remember Michael Jordan may have even been in the early stages of getting ready to come back into the game, because ultimately he came back September. He announced his return September of 2001. I think it was either the day before or the morning of, unfortunately, what happened with 9/11. It was said and rumored for a couple months that he was making a comeback starting that summer. So Michael Jordan went from weighing 215 or so pounds during the second three-peat to ultimately getting up to 265 pounds at his heaviest, which probably was around that time period. So if you look at this photograph of Michael Jordan, he never got fat, because remember, he's still a big guy. He's still around 6'5". But if you look at his shoulders, he's clearly a bigger dude than even when he's playing with the Wizards. He's not in the best like conditioning. That's when he was wearing those big shirts, and he's not in his best shape. You know what I'm saying? So that's not a peak condition Michael Jordan he's going up against. So, you know, Jordan was in much better physical conditioning a couple of months later by the time he started with the Wizards. Now, he also, obviously, because he had gotten so out of shape, was not the same guy that he was with the Chicago Bulls just 2 or 3 years earlier. He just was not the same guy. Okay? So, look, this is not to denigrate LeBron James. He's a great basketball player. He was a phenom. His games came on high school. His high school game, came on ESPN. I mean, just a great, great young prospect. But, when you're young and you have something to prove, you're going to go out there and you're going to do some great things. We saw the same thing with a young Kobe Bryant busting ass, going up against NBA level players when he was in high school. And Kobe's is much more documented. It's many more instances of Kobe Bryant destroying NBA level or collegiate players when he was in high school. You know what I'm saying? We're going off of a couple of instances of LeBron doing supposedly great things against players in one or two games where Kobe was doing it consistently. And let's not forget Michael Jordan, when he was young, when he was an amateur playing with the Olympic team, going up against NBA All-Stars. And when I say NBA All-Stars, I'm talking about Larry Bird, Isaiah Thomas, okay? I think George Gervin might have been one of them. He was going up against All-Stars, NBA All-Stars, legit All-Stars, in these exhibition games and completely destroying them, decimating them. One of those exhibition games, Jordan scored 71 points. So when you're young and you got something to prove, you're going to, you know what I'm saying? You're going to try to make your mark. You want to show to these guys, I'm on your level, if not higher. And by the way, if he's saying going up against Penny Hardaway in 2000, 2001, it's not the same Penny Hardaway before the injuries. It's not the same same Penny Hardaway before the microfracture injuries. Okay? I mean, he went up against NBA stars, but, If this was like what Mike did in the '80s, going up against Shaq and Garnett, or what I'm saying, Iverson, that'd be one thing. What I'm saying, like Jordan did in the '80s, going up against the top tier dudes. But you kind of going up against good players, really, really good players. But I mean, what I'm saying, uh, Antoine Walker's never noted for his great defense. So I'm just saying. But anyway, and also, LeBron James has not specifically said that I could tell. He's never made a claim that he's gone out there and bust Michael Jordan's ass. That's just something that LeBron James fans are just so desperate to have him. They're just trying to twist things to make him somehow say this. It's just their obsession with Michael Jordan is unbelievable. Michael Jordan lives rent free in these guys' head. I mean, Michael Jordan clearly could clear another $2 billion in income from the space that these guys, that Jordan occupy in these guys' brains every year. I mean, clearly he could earn more billions more just from the what I'm saying, the space that these guys occupy in their head that is devoted to Michael Jeffrey Jordan. But anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Oh, one other thing before I go. If we're going to talk about releasing footage and all of that, when are they going to release the footage of that high schooler dunking on LeBron at his camp? I think it was back in 2008, 2009. When are they going to release the footage of that? If you're going to talk about releasing the tape. But anyway, that's it.